see the same pattern. You see the pattern that, wow, what I used to do, I can do now with 10% of the effort. Unfortunately, the end user expects 100 times the experience. So the degree of difficulty remains the same. You still have to work harder to really reach users' expectations. And that's where we are today, I think, with today's modern internet technologies. Programming is an art. It's a craft. It's not a science, and it's not an engineering discipline. If it were a science or engineering, there'd be very right and very wrong ways of doing it. Now, a lot of programmers do a lot of things a lot of wrong ways, so from that perspective, maybe it's an engineering discipline, but I do believe you have to combine art with logic to come out with something that people really want to use. And speaking of that, I have never built any technology for my own satisfaction. I don't think that, for me, that's not fun. For me, what's fun is to actually put a smile on somebody else's face because their job got a little easier. And I think that we found that over and over again with the pioneers in the ServiceNow community building applications that made life better for somebody in HR or IT or facilities or legal, you know, where you really do become a hero to those people. I have a saying that familiarity breeds content. So when people walk up to something and they see something that inherently they think they understand or intuitively they believe they can use, it makes them happy. You know, technology that makes people feel dumb, that's really horrible, horrible stuff. And so we did have this vision to try to elevate or try to mitigate the amount of skill it took to really create meaningful applications. And not mitigate skill or not mitigate intelligence or intellect, but to mitigate the sheer volume of technologies that had to be understood, whether it was HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Java, SQL, you know, MongoDB, Hadoop, you know, all of these things had to be known before you could build even a meaningful application. And we wanted to really pretty much try to eliminate the need to have all those skills and let people use their business skills, their common sense, to apply logic and build these meaningful applications. Now, we wanted to have also no boundaries. So the reason that so many of you, I think especially the stuff that Fruition has done in the field has been so successful is that we really haven't limited the creativity by saying, no, you can only do things in this fashion. And so by opening up the JavaScript on both the client and the server and making that able to do outbound calls, to do integrations, et cetera, I think that we really eliminated a lot of boundaries that you find in other systems that just let you run into the wall, and that's as far as you can go. Technology, when done right, is extremely liberating and really can be very beneficial to people. But number 3 is listen to the users, because no matter how ill-informed you think they are, they most frequently know the heart of the problem. They know where the pain is, and they often can tell you the simplest solution. I think we were very innovative in how we built the platform. First of all, the platform, which is now being come to be known. Fruition's known about it for quite a few years, and they've been building out things that we hadn't dreamt of, stuff like their engagement with Key Energy a few years back. But we first built a platform. We had no idea what the platform was going to be used for until Robert Erweiler, who is a friend of mine, the CIO at Macromedia, said, look, we use Salesforce.com. We'd like to use ITIL. We want to find something in the cloud. We looked for a long time. We couldn't find it. So we built, in essence, our ITSM suite on top of our platform. Our world, as we know it, is fundamentally changing again. And as we move to the Internet of Everything, and we move to a very mobile device-enabled experience, people are going to anticipate something very, very different than we offer today. And so we're going to look for We look to the world to tell us what we should be doing in that regard. But the company has always tried to be innovative. I think to a large degree we have been. The role of IT in the enterprise has been changing since 1959. It's been evolving since 1959. It's been every generation, every 15 years, we're getting phenomenally new generations of technology that are more powerful, that are simpler to use, and far less expensive than prior generations. So, is the role of IT in the enterprise changing? Absolutely. Is it changing from infrastructure operator to business partner? I look at that stuff and think, what arrogant person wrote this? Because if anybody thinks that all IT's been doing for the last 50 years is plugging in disk drives and doing tape backups, somebody had to install, configure, make all that software run, and make it run on behalf of the company. And IT has always been a business partner. The role of IT is always going to be changing. It's always going to be evolving, and it's always going to be doing something more for the business and creating competitive differentiators. I think one thing that people forget is that some of the most basic skills that IT brings to the corporation are not necessarily technical. We are very, very good at projects. And we are, despite the fact that sometimes things overrun, etc., we're very good at projects and we're very good at process. And most organizations outside of IT tend to be more of an ad hoc environment. And so standing up a system that might benefit them is often very confounding. And so we not only bring technical skills to the table, we not only generally have a good understanding of the business, but we also know how to run projects, how to build process, and how to implement things so that they can be useful. So is it evolving? Yes. Successful innovation comes from a couple of different things. I gave a talk at UCSD the other day about how to create a successful business. I said it's really quite simple. You need to find a problem, you need to solve it, and then you need to tell the world about it. It's that easy. Unfortunately, doing any one of those three things is really very difficult. And not only do you have to do all three of those things, you have to do them at just the right moment in time. So many people create solutions looking for a problem. So many people create things that are just not market ready, et cetera, et cetera. And great companies do this. And so there's this innovation Venn diagram that says, what's desirable to users and what's possible with the very good question is what's possible with the current technology. Our vision statement was to enable the citizen developer. Again, to take the person that had business intelligence, business savvy, understood logically how things could flow, understood how workflow worked, and have them build meaningful applications. Now, you're not legitimate until Gartner actually develops a term for you. So we waited until, I think, 2012 for them to come up with citizen developer. And it's a nice term. I got to, in 8 years, I don't know if I could come up with that good of a term. But I do like that term because I think it does describe where this whole marketplace should be headed. And in my estimation, citizen developers should be doing things, filling white space, what I call white space. So these are areas where it was previously uneconomical to create applications or stand them up in a short period of time. And those are as diverse as an OSHA violation that I need to fill out a form, or a request for time off, or in the case of Disney, when Disney starts to distribute a film, that actually becomes a business that lasts for exactly around 6 months. So they spin up an entire business around the distribution of, Cars 3 or Lion King or planes. And that business runs its life cycle, and then they, in essence, shut it down, and it becomes a different business where they're now marketing to different groups. And so the whole notion that you can have a citizen developer actually stand up the environments to handle these white space requests or special needs of a company I think is phenomenally appealing. Our customers, and especially with our partners, have created a lot of wonderful applications that do fill this white space. I won't go into that, the details, but and I'm sure that many of you have. What I heard earlier this morning at breakfast is that many of you are looking for colleagues who have done some of these sorts of things, and believe me, you're going to find them in this audience, and you're going to find them in the ServiceNow community, and you're especially going to find them in the ServiceNow partner ecosystem. These are people that have built all sorts of special things for individual companies, and this is not a paid announcement, but the innovation that comes out of fruition is to me is staggering. I've been shown things that fruition has done and just said that's just awesome. Almost put a tear in my eye. We have a phenomenal opportunity in front of us, and I am deeply honored that you are betting some part of your career on this technology. I think the creativity that has come out of our user community and our partners has just been, it's been overwhelming to me. The last 10 years for me has been extremely surreal, and I want to thank you for making that happen, and I look forward to fruDevCon next, and next. Thanks again.